In a world where the Earth is not still, but constantly taken apart layer by layer, humanity builds machines that do not just work the ground, they redefine it. From endless bucket wheels to ultra-class excavators, this is not construction. This is controlled destruction at industrial scale. This is Mighty Machine. When an entire mining field disappears into motion, it is the KK1300 at work, a bucket wheel excavator so massive it feels less like equipment and more like a moving industrial horizon. Valued at nearly $100 million and built to keep the ground in a permanent state of transformation. Its rotating wheel never hesitates as each bucket bites into rock and soil, pulling thousands of tons upward in a continuous arc before releasing them onto conveyors that stretch like lifelines across the mine. There are no pauses, no resets, only an unbroken mechanical rhythm that turns excavation into flow. Entire landscapes are stripped and reorganized in real time, while the machine holds its ground against forces that would destroy conventional equipment. In large-scale mining zones, the KK1300 doesn't follow the terrain. It erases it and rewrites it as moving production. In mines where consistency matters more than spectacle, the Microcontrol 6600 operates like a controlled pulse of productivity. A $25 million class system focused on keeping material flow stable across demanding extraction lines. Instead of dramatic single movements, it works in measured continuity, guiding soil and mineral loads through a carefully balanced digging and transfer process that minimizes interruption. Every component is tuned for operational stability under long hours of stress, ensuring that production never drifts into downtime. It integrates directly into transport systems, feeding conveyors and haulers with steady output that keeps the entire mining chain alive. It is not about overwhelming force, but uninterrupted industrial discipline. Dust rises first, then the ground gives way. And that is where the EX5600-7 begins its work, a high-capacity hydraulic excavator in the $5 million class that defines modern open pit loading speed. Its massive bucket drives into rock with hydraulic pressure that feels almost deliberate, breaking resistance before lifting entire payloads in a single controlled motion. Each cycle ends with precision placement into haul trucks waiting below, keeping mining fleets in constant rotation. Reinforced joints and structural framing absorb the punishment of continuous impact as shift after shift pushes it through relentless workloads. In production, heavy sites, it becomes the link between raw earth and transport, converting solid ground into moving inventory. Long before modern mining became automated and continuous, there was a machine that defined brute excavation power in its purest form: the silver spade. A giant shovel excavator once valued around $10 million that turned overburden removal into a display of raw mechanical force. Each swing of its enormous bucket was not a cycle, but an event, lifting earth in volumes that challenged the limits of its era. Steel arms groaned under weight that would overwhelm smaller fleets. It kept digging, loading, and reshaping ground with a rhythm driven entirely by mechanical dominance. Built for endurance in unforgiving sites, it absorbed shock, impact, and constant strain as if engineered to outlast expectation itself. Where traditional excavation stops and starts, the Sandvik PE100 replaces hesitation with continuity. A $30 million continuous mining system that cuts directly into the face of the earth and never breaks its flow. Material is carved, lifted, and carried away in a single integrated motion that removes the need for separate loading cycles. Every second of operation becomes output. Every movement becomes production. It maintains stability while processing vast volumes of material without interruption. Across large-scale mining operations, it functions as a direct pipeline between ground and production system. When the ground refuses to break, the Komatsu PC9000 answers with weight that feels almost geological in itself. A $12 million ultra-class excavator that turns resistance into movement through sheer controlled force. The first strike is never gentle. It is decisive, as its boom drives into rock layers that have held still for centuries, only to give way under hydraulic pressure that feels absolute. Each cycle is deliberate, but massive, lifting hundreds of tons of material and placing it with precision that keeps entire haul fleets alive beneath it. Nothing about it is fast in appearance. Yet everything about it is efficiency at scale, where every motion carries the burden of production targets measured in thousands of tons per hour. In deep pit mines, it does not simply excavate, it dictates the pace of extraction itself. There are machines that dig, and then there are machines that never stop touching the earth at all. The KK1600 belongs to the second category, a bucket wheel excavator valued around $110 million that behaves less like equipment and more like a moving landscape. Its wheel never pauses, rotating through soil and rock in a continuous bite that removes entire layers without breaking rhythm. Thousands of tons vanish every hour into conveyor lines that stretch outward like industrial arteries, carrying the mine's output away in real time. There is no cycle, no reset point, only uninterrupted transformation from ground to flow. Built for endurance under extreme torque and vibration, it operates like a system that refuses silence, turning open pits into constantly moving production fields. It starts with a slow rotation, almost unnoticeable, and within seconds the VDO bucket wheel excavator becomes a constant force of removal, a $90 million class continuous mining system that never breaks its feeding motion. Each bucket cuts, lifts, and releases in a repeating sequence so smooth it removes the idea of individual digging events entirely. The earth does not get excavated in moments. It gets streamed out of existence. Material flows directly into conveyors that carry it away without pause, keeping the entire system in a permanent state of production. Reinforced for abrasive load conditions and non-stop operation, it survives in environments where stopping is more expensive than movement itself. Before ultra-class hydraulic giants dominated mining sites, the Marion 7500 defined what electric rope power looked like at industrial scale. An $8 to $10 million machine that turned steel cables into pure lifting authority. Its bucket does not glide, it pulls, tearing into overburden with rope-driven force that feels raw and mechanical in the most direct way possible. Each lift is a full-body motion of steel, motors, and tension systems working together to move Earth in enormous single cycles. It loads with authority rather than speed, delivering material into trucks in volumes that shaped early large-scale mining productivity. In operation, it feels less like automation and more like controlled violence harnessed into production. When this machine moves, everything around it becomes secondary. The Bucyrus RH120E, a $10 to $12 million electric rope shovel that turns deep pit mining into a continuous loading operation measured in hundreds of tons per cycle. The bucket drops with intention, disappears into dense rock, and returns filled with material that once felt immovable. Every movement feeds the mining chain, keeping haul trucks in constant circulation below its reach. Reinforced for extreme duty cycles, it exists in a state where stopping is more unnatural than operating. Some machines do not simply exist in mines, they define the mine itself, and the RWE288 is one of them. A $100 million class bucket wheel excavator that operates like an endless rotating scar across the Earth's surface. When the scale of mining stops feeling mechanical and starts feeling geological, the KU-800 becomes the force that defines it, a $120 million bucket wheel excavator that does not dig the earth so much as continuously peel it away layer by layer. Its wheel turns with an unbroken hunger, each bucket biting into rock and soil, as if the ground itself has been scheduled for removal. Thousands of tons disappear every hour into conveyor systems that stretch across the mine like engineered lifelines, carrying the aftermath of constant excavation away in real time. There is no pause in its behavior, no hesitation in its rhythm, only a permanent cycle of consumption and transfer. Reinforced for extreme torque and continuous structural stress, it survives in conditions where even the landscape is forced to move. In the silence before a blast of movement, the Liebherr R 9800 waits like a concentrated force of hydraulic power, a $5 to $6 million ultra-class excavator built to move impossible weight with controlled precision. Then the boom drops, and everything changes. Rock fractures under pressure. The bucket drives deep, and suddenly hundreds of tons are lifted as if mass itself has been negotiated rather than fought. Each cycle is deliberate but overwhelming, feeding haul trucks in sequences that keep entire mining operations synchronized. Reinforced hydraulics and structural framing absorb constant punishment, allowing it to repeat this dominance through long production shifts without losing rhythm. There is a different kind of aggression in the CAT 6060FS, a $6 million front shovel excavator that attacks the mine face directly, not from above or behind, but head-on with controlled industrial force. Its bucket presses into the material like a forward-moving wall, braking and lifting in a motion designed for maximum loading speed. Every cycle is about turnover, getting material from ground to truck in the shortest possible path. The machine thrives in open pit environments where efficiency is measured in seconds per load, not just tons per hour. Reinforced structure and hydraulic precision allow it to repeat this motion continuously under extreme operational stress. When scale becomes overwhelming, the Terex RH400 is what remains. A $10 million class hydraulic excavator that moves earth in quantities that redefine what a single machine can accomplish. Its bucket alone carries what smaller fleets would struggle to handle, lifting material in cycles that feel almost unreal in volume. Each movement is slow but absolute, driven by hydraulic force that converts power into controlled lifting at massive scale. It feeds ultra-class haul trucks in minimal passes, keeping production chains flowing without interruption. Built for extreme durability, it operates under constant stress, where every cycle is a statement of raw excavation capacity. What you have seen is not power for display, but power for survival, where every ton moved shapes entire industries, and every machine becomes a force of constant motion. The Earth never stops changing, and neither do the machines that move it. This is Mighty Machine.